What's up? It's me, your girl E, coming to you today for a Saturday writing session. It is Saturday, August the 22nd. I want to give a birthday shout out to Angela Brock. She is the author of If You Only Knew How God Turned My Mess into a Message. Today is her birthday. Happy, blessed birthday. She's one of the writers. It was published with Writer's Block Publishing. Amazing woman. She is a Pittsburgh native. So happy birthday, Angela. Much love to you. Um, we are coming into the end of August. Wow. I'm still bringing in the new year. So I'm not ready to say hello to September, but it looks like I don't have a choice because September is like next week. All right. But we do have some exciting things coming, of course. Let's talk about the masterclass that's coming up actually next week on the 29th of August from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The writing masterclass. I'll be teaching character development, plot development, storytelling, how to write your memoirs. Memoirs. Um, it's a great masterclass. I'll be teaching it because everybody has a story to tell. I want to encourage you to tell your story. I want to encourage you to write, journal, whatever it is you need to do to let those creative juices flow. Okay? And then September the 19th is a Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. If you are in the Pittsburgh area, Pittsburgh, PA, home of the black and gold, um, I will be at a half price books with my newest book, The Cultivating Nature of Naomi Cain. I'll be signing a book or other book. I'll have also my other works as well. And there is a free gift with a book purchase. So come on and support. Let's talk, let's chat, let's write, even brainstorm. Because listen, I'm all about the brainstorm. I love a good brainstorm session. All right, and of course, this is my latest book, The Cultivating Nature of Naomi Cain. It is about a young woman, 50. Hey, big ups to the 50s, the 1976ers this year. Um, she is turning 50, and it's a matter of will her children come home to visit to celebrate her 50th birthday with her. There's been some issues within the family dynamic, so we need to find out if they will put those issues aside and celebrate their mother. Now, we all been there, right? Let's not say we haven't. Let's not say, I don't have that. That's family. No, we have issues where we're just like, I ain't going. We have issues, and who all gonna be over there? Okay, we all said that. Okay, so my book is available on Amazon, so I'm extremely excited. And last but not least, I actually want to show this to you live. I don't want to put up a picture. Okay, so I posted this journals before. Actually, because my lighting is horrible. Let me pull it up on my image. Hang on. Let me go to my desktop. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I created this journal about 9 years ago. Let me see, between 8 and 9 years ago. It's a Writer's Block Bible journal per se. And it is to encourage people to just journal, mainly biblically. You take it to church. We take our notes in church and all that good stuff, right? But also, of course, the writing aspect. I didn't want to just do the Habakkuk 2 verse, break the vision, make it plain type deal. Let me get that out of there. Okay. I didn't want to do that technically. What I wanted to do was just use something else. So I researched another scripture dealing with writing, and this is what it is. And this is about maybe 9 years old. I got to research to see when it was actually published. And this is, and I mean, I got a lot of compliments because it's pretty purple. My favorite color, purple royalty. And it's simple. It just has lines in it. Just no direction, nothing like that. Just lines, right? Journal. Just, for your prayers, you use it as your prayer journal, Bible journal, whatever, right? So, I was Googling journals, and there's a trend. I don't know how old this trend is, but I saw it. A lady journals in her Bible, and she asked the pages and all the highlighters and the pens and the notes. And I thought, so that's different. I'm not someone who journals in their actual Bible. I get a notebook and journal and write what I, whatever. However, as I saw her on YouTube, I researched her, started following her, um, even looked up creative ways to journal spiritually, biblically, and I stumbled on some actual Bible journals that I liked, and I said, it's time for an upgrade. It's time for a revamp. So I did this one right here. So this is actual proof, right? So this is what we got. God's promises never fail. Of course, the Jeremiah 30:2 scripture. Okay, I actually like the red letters. The red is very kind of powerful. The gold, the black. Even though purple is my favorite color, I do love black. I don't know why. It's kind of just giving me a sophisticated, glamorous vamp. Okay, I like that, and I also have it available in. This is a hardback. I have it available in paperback. Okay, so I got the paperback and the hardback. So both are available on Amazon, right? So I researched some things. So what we got? We got the date, the text, if you're in church, the text, right? The main points, and call to action. Call to action is like, what can I do differently now that I read this Bible text? Okay. And there's a little page for notes. You can write your notes down. Okay. Now, if you need extra pages to notes to write in, because sometimes it gets that deep, this is when you can do that Bible journaling. All right. It's the same in the paperback as well. Okay. So, these are now, I went from this to this. Okay. And there's more journals coming along the way, and I'll be posting those and sharing those. But I wanted to share those because they're kind of happy about it. Okay. Again, those are available on Amazon if you want me to sell you one directly. Email me at writersblockpub@yahoo.com. I cannot connect the link to my website. My website is Writers Block Publishing LLC. That is a website. Okay. I cannot connect a link to my website. I might have to upgrade the website to add links because there's options to sell for like the Writers Block merch, stuff like that. It's just I don't know, it's too challenging. I didn't call my website people, and it's kind of annoying that they tell me to do this and that, and I do it, still nothing. So send me an email. Simple writers. Hey, subject Bible journal, subject masterclass, whatever it is that you want to contact me about. writersblockpub@yahoo.com. Right, and I will forward you a link to whatever it is that you want to get. Okay. If you want to sign up for the masterclass, I will send you through your email a writing packet and a Zoom link because we will be live on Zoom. A lot of people are not able to physically be in person, so I started doing a Zoom, especially when the pandemic hit. And it is so much easier to really navigate through Zoom. All right, if you want a Bible journal, I will send you a link for Cash App, Venmo. You send that, and then I will definitely send it to you. I don't charge for shipping. I get talked about all the time. You need to, nope, I can't, I don't know. Shipping sometimes is just a little bit too much, and I don't know, I just don't charge to ship. So shipping is absolutely free, and also it's to say thank you for your support. That's why I don't charge for shipping. And I'm a giver, so I like to give away free gifts when you purchase anything from me with Writer's Block or the E. Davis brand. Okay? So, we are talking about character arc. I thought I had a page for it. Description for a flyer, but I don't, so whatever. But talk about character arc. We just finished. We are wrapping up our character development series, and it has definitely taught me some things on character development, on the antagonist, the protagonist, secondary character, especially with the antagonist, when the antagonist does not have to be really a bad guy. Like, it don't have to be, per se, the villain in the situation. The protagonist, it could be anything that's hindering your protagonist, like the weather. When we talked about the protagonist, my allergies was on full throttle. So I really could not successfully do a video. So I was just like, my allergies is the antagonist. And I'm more so of a naturopath. I don't like to take allergy medicine. It makes me extremely loopy, lethargic. I don't like that. So I'm kind of the suffer in silence type person. So I knew that I wanted to deliver a video and not kind of baby it out. So I just muscled through it, powered through it. But the antagonist in that moment in my life was the allergies. Your antagonist could be the elements. Pittsburgh, Allegheny County, the rain has been a bit much. The antagonist. The heat. I'm a heat baby. I love the heat. The more humid, the better. I know I'm a glutton for punishment because I also wrestle with asthma, but I love the way the sun feels on my skin, that vitamin D. But the heat has been very antagonistic as well as the rain. Um, you got to think about what is hindering you from the protagonist, not you. What is hindering the protagonist to accomplish their journey, right? That's what I've learned. Never thought about it. It does not have to be the villain. It could be the situation, okay? Or the villain does not have to be a person. It could be the situation. The protagonist, now I've said this before, and it is mandatory. There's no exceptions. They have to grow. They have to learn through this journey. The journey doesn't have to be the backpack journey and they're on the road journey. It could be something within the day that they're like, oh, what did you learn? You could wake up thinking one thing, and at the end of the day, your protagonist is like, I get it. I completely get it. Now, of course, we think about the journey that goes through time. You start off maybe in January of 2026, and they have moved forward by 2029. Okay, we get it, right? Especially if it's a series. You know what I mean? I love a good series. But your protagonist they have to grow. They have to be at a different place where they started in the beginning. The secondary character, I've learned the secondary character has issues too, right? It's not always about you, not always about that protagonist. Your secondary characters have issues, and their issues may not be as mandatory in the story as a protagonist, but we should see some things that they are wrestling with. Think of your favorite TV shows that we've watched where the star of the show or the star of the episode, but then the secondary characters has some things going on. Okay, they have some things that they need to wrestle with, right? Something to think about. This was very, very an enlightening series that I actually enjoyed because one, I enjoy character development. It's one of my favorite things to do when I'm writing. Is really developing that character, even with the iceberg method, what Ernest Hemingway has taught. You see the iceberg, right, and you think it's just this mass that's on top of the water, but never mind the body underneath the water. You have to take that into consideration because what's down on below. Let's get to the bottom of it. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the character arc. I did not print up any papers, but I pulled it up on my phone. So bear with me as I go over these notes. Alright, so the character arc is one of the most important questions. How is the person different at the end of the story than what they were at the beginning? So you want to think of it this way. The beginning, the struggle, the challenge, and the ending. For example, a character might begin their story afraid to trust people. Okay? They have a trust issue. We all know people with that. Throughout the story, people betray them, challenge them, and force them to. But this is going to. The story is going to force them to confront their fears, their apprehensions, their trepidations on trusting. By the end, your character learns that Your character must learn that trust doesn't mean ignoring the red flags. It allows the right people in their life. So, you ever met that friend who, of course, say it's heartbroken, right? Bad relationships after bad relationships, and you're just like, I'm done. I'm not getting married. I'm not dating. I'm not doing anything. Well, okay, to each their own. However, you want to encourage that person to not ignore the red flags, but maybe set boundaries. Like, This is not going to work because I know how this is going to end. So you set the boundaries. Now, if that person with all the red flags wants to be a better person, then they will hear the person with the trepidations and say, you know what, I hear what you're saying, I'm going to work on this. But you know that's not always the case, because that person with red flags is more likely the antagonist, and the antagonist doesn't grow. Okay. Um, the character arc. There are 5 major parts of the character arc. Okay, so who was the character at the beginning? What do they believe? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Their fears? Let's talk about one of my favorite TV characters is Samantha Jones from Sex and the City. Good old Samantha, right? And if you're a Sex and the City fan like me, you remember when Miranda had her baby. Okay, because it was the 4 girls: Miranda, Samantha, Charlotte, and Carrie. These are the girls. They would go out to brunch every Saturday or breakfast. They have their girl talk. They catch up through the week. They give each other advice. They fuss and cuss and all this good stuff. But now Miranda has a baby. So they just can't sporadically and randomly just pick up and do what they want to do, because Miranda got to take into consideration her baby. Okay? So she brings the baby to the brunch, to the breakfast, and Samantha, who has no filter, was just talking and saying whatever she wants to say, and is sort of like, oh, the baby, what you say in front of the baby? Watch what you do in front of the baby. And the baby had sped up. The baby starts crying. It's such a distraction. It's a distraction. Kids are a distraction. It really is. And what I mean by this is, you really can't do what you want to do around children. You got to be mindful, because they're sponges. Okay, they pick up stuff. So when you have children around, you have to watch what you say, watch what you do. And especially if you want to have a girls' night or a bros' weekend, you got to take that into consideration. So Samantha was just like, okay, the baby, all right, whatever, the baby, okay. And then there was a scene where they were just going to go shopping. I said, just go shopping. We're going to go shopping, we'll spend some money, we're going to live this life. But Miranda forgot the baby's pacifier. I just can't go shopping. I got to go get the baby's pacifier. So Samantha said, well, let's get you a cab and go home, because apparently you can't head, basically. Samantha held her hand up and got the cab and put Miranda in the cab so fast. Bye, girl. It was like that. And Miranda felt some kind of way. It was like, I feel like I'm not part of the group anymore because I have a baby. And Carrie, the star of the series, was like, no, girl, you just got to adjust. We're going to be all right. That was the first episode of season 5, I believe. By the end of season 5, there was a wedding. It was none of the girls, but they went to a wedding. And Miranda had now adjusted to being a mother, that her life isn't just hers, now it's her baby. The characters, there was some depth into the characters that they had to learn. But the focusing on Samantha was when they were at this wedding and everybody was just dancing and having a good time. Samantha and Miranda were dancing together as friends, but Miranda was holding her baby. And Samantha just dancing around with her friend, having a good time, enjoying the music and the ambiance and the atmosphere. Now, the character arc was Samantha. Okay, let's talk about Samantha. Let's see. Who were they at the beginning? So at the beginning of season 5, Samantha was like, we ain't doing no kids. Right? What did they believe? She believed that children, it's going to change the dynamic of this friendship of our girl group. Alright? What is her strength? One of Samantha's strengths is the fact that she is a strong, independent woman. She made a successful career without the help of a man. She was a public relations, a public promoter, things like that. What is her weakness? She was very insensitive to Miranda, knowing that she was a new mother and she was adapting to this new normal. And what is her fears? Her fears is changing the dynamic of the girls group. Okay? What does she want? What do they want? This is the character's external goal. What does she want? She didn't want anything to change. Samantha was someone who didn't have a lot of female friends. And now that she had these three best friends who were single, I think Charlotte was the only one that was, I think Charlotte was going through a divorce. So now we got our quad again. Let's keep it like that. We don't need men. We could be ladies. We could be on the town. We can do us. That was her goal. Let's just move on. Heartbreaks happen. Let's move on. What do they actually need? This is deeper than what we want. It's the lesson or internal change they need. Samantha needed to feel secure in her friendship. Because when you think about, say, your best friends in high school, and how many of us truly have that best friend and from high school? I'm 50. I have two friends since high school who I'm still close with. Just two. So now I have friends that I met along the way who I've become immensely close with, bonded with, became sisters with, became brother and sister with. But since the time I was 14, 15, just two. All right? Because people grow up, they grow apart, and unfortunately some pass away. So the dynamic is now different. There's a new normal now. Getting through life without this person. So Samantha needed to accept the fact that there is a new normal. All right? What challenge forces them to change? The challenge is accepting this new normal, because she had this wall up. She had to break down this wall because she had to show a sensitive side, and for her, showing a sensitive side felt like she was being weak. All right? And who are they at the end? They either change, refuse to change, or discover something about themselves. Okay. So Samantha did change, because from the first episode of season 1, she didn't even want to be near the baby. I don't do kids. But by the last episode of season 5, they're at a wedding, okay? And she is enjoying dancing with one of her best friends and the baby. She was now just embracing the Auntie Samantha vibe, okay? A flat arc. Oh, wait a minute, let me start over. Okay. So these are the 5 things. First thing is, who are they at the beginning? What do they want? What do they actually need? What challenges forces them to change? And who are they at the end? All right. So let's talk about the 3 common types of arc. The positive arc. The character changes for the better. Your character is going to change to be a better person. They could be the greatest person in the world. Well, besides Jesus. They could be the best person in the world, right? But by the end of your book, at the end of your series, they're going to be a better arc. The negative arc. The character becomes worse because of their choices. You ever meet somebody who's just bitter at life because of the choices they made? So now they're bitter, like a bitter old person, a bitter old lady. I've known quite a few people. They're just bitter. They didn't keep the relationship. They lost a good man. They lost a good woman. They didn't appreciate their job, because whatever the case may be, and so they got fired, and now, or they just can't get a good job. They chose not to go to college. They chose not to do a trade. They chose not to work on something. So now they're to life where they're in their 60s. They have nothing to really show for it. They're just negative. All right? And the flat arc. The character doesn't fundamentally change. Instead, they change the world around them. Misery Loves Company, I kind of like that. Their world, they're just, somebody's negative with them. Example of a flat arc would be we'll say a queen who already knows who she is. Her challenge isn't to learning who she is using what she knows to protect her kingdom. Bridgerton fans, Queen Charlotte. She understood she was queen when she got married to the king. learning how to deal with the king, her husband, because he had some mental health. But towards the end, she was like, no, 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 no. I have authority here. I'm going to dictate authority here, and things are going to change because of the circumstances that I'm in. All right. Let me see. What else do we need? I think that's it for our character series. These are my notes. These are my notes, character series. So, let's go over it again. The beginning, the struggle, the change, and the ending. So, who your character is at the beginning. The struggle, that means what they're dealing with along the journey. From the rising action to the climax, even towards the end of the falling action. Because by the time the falling action hit, there has to be a shift, a change. And the ending. Okay. Now, this can also be true with all your other characters, such as your antagonist, because your antagonist has a mindset in the beginning. There's a struggle. You got your protagonist ruining everything. Okay? The change. Do they do something different or do they stay? Because your antagonist can change, but more likely they don't. And the ending. All right, the 5 major points: who they are at the beginning, what do they want, what do they actually need, what challenges forces them to change, and who are they at the end. And the 3 character archetypes: the positive, the negative, and the flat. The flat. All right, guys, this is it for our character development series. This is a great series this month. Let's think about what we're going to get into next month. Have a great and safe Saturday.